Polyglot is a term for people who can speak, write, and read in many languages. Everyone can be a polyglot because we can always learn a new language. There are many benefits of speaking many languages. In fact, learning many languages can prevent us from suffering from dementia or Alzheimer.
Interesting. We should try that, but it should be categorized not just speaking, but writing and reading as well.
Listen. And to learn more about polyglot, we are now joined by Erdipa Wiratama, Wiring from Polyglot Indonesia community. Hi, Dipa.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for coming here to the studio.
Thank you for inviting me. Pleasure.
So good to have you here. All right, so we've been talking about polyglot, and we only can speak 2 languages each right now.
So we couldn't categorize as a polyglot person, right? Only
I think three or more, right?
Or more.
Actually, let's just ask Deepa. So what exactly is polyglot?
A polyglot is a person who is able to, as you mentioned, to speak mostly, but also to read, to write in more than 3 languages, because you people would be categorized as bilingual.
Bilingual, right.
And then we have trilingual for the person who speaks a 3rd language, and above and beyond, a polyglot.
So it should be more than 3, yeah?
Yeah.
So talking about yourself, so how many languages actually you can fluently speak?
Yeah.
And what languages are these?
So in terms of proficiency, so in how proficient am I in one language? The first one, my personal one, would be French.
French.
English, Indonesian, naturally, Persian, and German, still a bit rusty, and I'm currently learning Spanish.
Spanish.
Wow.
Wow. Let's track one by one. How did you learn French and then Persian? That's the second one that I'm really interested to know.
Wait, but your first language would be?
French, not English, right?
Not
Not English, not
Indonesian.
Indonesian.
Yeah. So tell us.
So I've had the pleasure and the privilege of having a dad who works at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So,
So you're a son of diplomat. Yeah?
yes. So I grew up living in different countries and following my dad along his career. And luck would have put me that the first time I stepped into a school, so the primary school would be in Geneva, Switzerland. So that's where I amassed, that's where I started speaking in French, socializing in French.
Yeah.
I stayed there for more than 12 years as well. So God knows that between the young age until the early teens, a lot of things happened during those years.
Yeah.
So that's why French has become my natural language for me.
Right.
For English, where it's an international language. You get it in movies, in books, and everything. So you kind of, whether you like it or not, you get it. And Indonesian, I'll have to give credit to my parents, who at home always wanted to speak Indonesian with me.
So that was the rules, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they already had an idea that I would be speaking in other languages other than Indonesian. So the last place would be home itself.
Right. How about Persian?
Persian,
Oh, yeah.
so that's an interesting one, because I learned Persian quite late, at the age of 21, but it became one of the languages I use the most actually right now. So at the end of my dad's career, he went to Iran, and during that time I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I decided to follow him again. So I came there. I actually started to study in university there in Persian, so I had to take classes for 10 months or a year, and they thought that my Persian was good enough to university, and then the Persian got further advanced as I studied in Iran.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Wow.
Thank you, thank you.
So talking about...
Wait, there's one more, Spanish.
Spanish.
Oh, Spanish. That's also something that I would like to share later on as we discuss. Spanish, I'm not fluent yet. It's still I'm still learning with the Duolingo application. I'm sure some of you might have heard that. But that is because it's more of a functional approach. When you get Spanish, you get a whole continent for yourself, Latin America, and there's a place that I would like to visit one day. So that's where the interest kind of came in.
Yeah. But do you think that some people are just easier to learn languages, or do you think everybody have the same chance?
No, everybody has the same chance. Within the community itself, we have a wide variety of people in interest. You have diasporas such as myself, you have language enthusiasts, you have students in the Faculty of Culture majoring in a particular language or whatsoever. And actually, the people who speak the most language actually started by themselves, autodidact. And I remember that back a few years ago, there was this hyper polyglot from Ambon, I forgot her name was,
Yeah,
who passed away, rest in peace. She managed to learn by herself up to 14 languages, all via the use of internet, YouTube, and every tools available from the internet.
Right.
So no, it's not. It's not something that you have to have a certain gift. It's
Yeah.
definitely something that if you're passionate enough, you can definitely get it. You know.
So,
But do you think it's easier if like you mastered 2 languages already? So do you think it's easier to learn other languages?
It's easier to transition from one language to another. Let me explain. So, having learned French, and French is a particularly quite structured language. The
Yeah.
structure is quite complicated. That helped me understand the structure of Persian, which has similar tense.
really?
So that I could link like the difference of in terms of tense and like the verbs. And as long as you as long as you have one particular language you can start with,
Yeah.
it could be Indonesian. It can always be linked to some languages because Indonesian and Persian, or maybe even Arabic to some extent, have certain words in common. For example, we might say salang to
Salang.
salang, the hose. In Persian, it's shelang.
Shelang.
Shelang. So there's like, in terms of vocabulary, that helps. So it's always about finding the different elements that kind of like that you can daisy link into learning the language and the next and the next.
Right. So at least there are 2 ways of learning language, so we can join your squad, yeah, as a
Yeah.
polyglot, Indonesian polyglot. Like, first one by seeing the structure,
Yeah.
and then the second one by seeing the similarity of some
Yeah.
vocabulary.
Yeah.
So is that easy for you or for everybody for doing that?
Well, nowadays with the as society has become very much globalized and technology has helped us connect with other people, I see that people mostly now learn. I'm sure that most people nowadays actually like know their English from the basis of, if not movies or books,
Or
watch-
from YouTube?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rich Brian, who is one of the more famous artists right now, he learned his English through YouTube.
Yeah.
So I guess that if anybody has access to YouTube or internet, you can go anywhere from there.
Yeah.
So it's not a given, yeah.
Now, we're living in Indonesia where there's so many traditional languages.
Yep.
So let's say one person can speak Javanese, can speak Sundanese, and more than 3 traditional languages. Would you call that person a polyglot?
Absolutely. So Javanese, Bataknese, Minang, those are languages that already stand on their own. So they have their own language, their own structure, the cultural identity that goes throughout it, and it's very different from Javanese and other local languages. So if you, as an Indonesian, can speak Javanese, Sundanese, Minang, with Japasu,
Japazu.
that makes you a polyglot already. A localized polyglot, but a polyglot nonetheless.
Oh, there you go. You speak
Yeah.
Sundanese.
Sudanese, a bit Javanese, a bit Minang. But related to some food term, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way, the third way, let's say.
Yeah.
Not just some vocabularies, but more specific food vocabularies.
Yeah.
The way of being polyglot. So talking
Yep.
about polyglot community in Indonesia.
Yep.
So for someone who wishes to join this community, can it be just someone who's still learning for some language, or it should be at the beginning, or she or he should be has more than 3 languages, so he or she can join the community?
So it's not about the amount of language that you know, it's the language that you're interested with. So as a community, we always, we're used in different ways. So some people just want to deepen their learning towards one language. Some people want to advance what they already know. Some people want to find the opportunity to practice.
Yeah.
So for example, we have a lot of students, for example, from the Faculty of Cultural Sciences in UI, who are majoring in French, Arabic, German, whatsoever, who come to our community. And the way our events are organized is you are sat within your own languages. So there'll be discussions, and during the event, you can do something related to your language. So it's not about you have to have a base, obviously, but then where you want to go. Do you want to focus on that one language and be proficient with it? You can do that. Or you can come and realize that you want to learn different languages, and Polyglot Indonesia has had the honor of being very well connected in terms of languages, so we're well connected with local embassies in Jakarta, other polyglot communities around the world who have participated in our events. And if your interest is to learn multiple languages, I'm sure that from our own structure, we can definitely tell you which way is the best. Gitu.
Now you said there's a base, right? So if I were to go, I want to be in your community, do I have to get tested? And be like, yeah, I don't think you're in a level yet.
Okay, you can go back and learn more, more practice.
No, it's not like that. It's like we just take people based on their interest and how passionate they are and how much they want to learn. Because in the end, it's all just a big learning. We all learn together. You know. We got, for example, like I said, my German is the weakest as of right now. And for that reason, sometimes when I do the events that we used to do, I would sit, instead of at the French table, I would sit at the German table and have my German refreshed.
I see.
Interesting. I have an idea.
Yeah.
Before we move to the next question, maybe you can show us a little, like, you can explain a brief of yourself. Start with in English, and then your all polyglot languages,
Okay.
and end with Bahasa Indonesia.
Oh, bahasa the
You can
okay.
see to the camera.
Okay. So as you probably already know, my name is Erdipa Wiratama. I'm 31 years old. I'm a polyglot. En ce moment à Jakarta, j'aide la police avec mes capacités linguistiques. Donc c'est quelque chose que je peux pas dire, mais je fais ça en ce moment à Jakarta. بازم من 5 سال تو جاکارتا برگشتم در همین موقعی که فارسی استفاده نکردم متاسفانه بالاخره به خاطر همین کار پلیسی که گفتم فارسیم دوباره یه جوری بهتر شده که هر روز استفاده میکنم. Und ich denke, dass ich muss auch in Deutsch sprechen, aber mein Deutsch ist ein bisschen schlecht. Dann ich denke, dass ich kann nicht mehr sprechen in Deutsch. Dan pada akhirnya ya saya berharap pada akhirnya bahwa itu sudah cukup membuktikan kalau saya bisa fasih dalam beberapa bahasa. Jadi ya gimana?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
First is English, French, Persian, German, yeah, and then the last one is Bahasa Indonesia. Wow, that's perfectly perfect.
I think I understand the first and the last. That's all. Now, Dipa, most polyglots learn European language first, or and why is that? And do you think you will learn other Southeast Asian languages?
Okay.
Is that something that's in your mind?
So that's an interesting question. So the reason why most of us from Southeast Asia, we would like to learn European languages first. It's kind of the same way as to why Europeans come to us when they want to enjoy holidays. It's the more exotic one. It's the more opposite to our cultural. But linked to that, obviously, people already view Europe or the West in general as a destination for education, for tourism, and for general, better quality of life. And so people have already veered their interest toward that direction. Wanting to learn that language is an extension of that desire. If I want to learn other Southeast Asian languages, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the reason I think more cultural exchange should be done, maybe in terms of language as well, is because in ASEAN, in general, we need to show more unity.
Yeah.
And we're just, as a region, we're so
Rich, right?
A lot of varieties.
A lot of varieties.
In terms of ethnicity, religion, language. Like one ASEAN country has a few thousand languages already.
Yeah.
So it becomes hard to unite that. And I think by learning each other's languages, it can be a step so that we might become more unified. Yeah. And the interest towards Southeast Asia becomes a little bit more exposed.
Right, and our social media, today Instagram, is campaigning about how to learn languages in ASEAN countries. Like
1 word a day.
One word a day.
Yeah.
Like
That's true,
say
that's
hello, say I love you, or say thank you. It's a good thing, in the digital era.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we move to the next question. I browsed this morning, so there is a term of Esperanto.
Esperanto.
Yes,
okay.
a language created by L.L. Zamenhof. It is said that it is claimed as a universal language, actually. Is that true?
That is
And
true.
Can you tell us more about
Absolutely.
this?
So Esperanto actually took a few weeks at most trying to learn Esperanto because of that idea, because the reason why I'm interested in speaking a lot of languages is the idea of that citizen of the world. I'm no longer Indonesian, I just want to be citizen of the world. And Esperanto was promised at the time to be able to unite people because one, it was easy to learn, easy to understand in terms of structure, and it shared some a logical way of thinking about the languages. But the reason why Esperanto never took off is because people associate a language. I mean, one of the strongest identity someone could have is from his own language.
Yeah.
And by adopting Esperanto at a mass scale, some were concerned that identity might lost in the process. So that's why it never took off. But I know that within the language enthusiasts, it is a niche subject that is oftenly spoken about, because it kind of like when you know French, Italian, or Spanish, you can learn it quite easily because the basis like Roman. Yeah.
Interesting. So did you learn, or are you learning Esperanto?
I tried learning Esperanto on Duolingo, and I just never kind of get the hang of it. So let me explain why I maintain my Spanish till now is because I always find a way to keep the interest alive by watching Spanish series or Spanish-speaking series. But Esperanto,
there's no series.
There's no series in Esperanto. There's not a wide application like using Esperanto, so that's why I kind of faded in as we went.
In your opinion, what are the benefits of speaking many languages?
Oh, your perspective on things becomes a lot more wider. By understanding language, you understand the culture. By understanding the culture, you understand that how easily we can connect with each other in terms of with other human beings. And I realize that you become way more empathetic towards everybody. So I think it is the first step of actually recognizing that the other person also has struggles like us, has stories like us. And what is a perspective? Because before I learned Persian, which is the foreign non-Western language that I've learned, obviously I was, because of media, because I was brought up in life, I would think, more in a Western way. Seperti orang bule lah katakan. But after learning Persian, I got to understand another point of view that wasn't familiar to me. And I think that was a realization point that made me, okay, the world is not as small as I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's very
Not just in one angle, eh?
No, not at all.
I think he's going to be a great travel buddy.
Right. Let's go there. Okay. He will talk easily to locals, yeah? All right, see, the stories will continue after the break. We're, of course, still with Diva, and I think we will some challenge and games for us, from you. So don't go anywhere. Just stay with us right here on the 3 Hour Show, only on Today.